Well, we're now going to send it over to Zach Weaver to give us the full update on this week's weather. Zach, what do you got for us?
Thanks, guys. That's right. It has been pretty warm the past few weeks, peaking in the 90s, which is pretty unusual for the early springtime in March. But now it's kind of getting back to the old normal spring temperatures. It's raining kittens and puppies out there right now, so that's bringing the temperatures down a little bit. We'll go ahead. We got some footage of the rain that was going on today. Kind of took people by surprise how cold it got, I think. Not necessarily the rain, but the umbrellas came out. Jackets and pants came back out of the old dresser, and even the birds were sitting out there in the rain, kind of trying to get out of it. It's not too pleasant for anybody to be in. But we'll go ahead and look at the national weather map here. We see up in the northwest region, up in Seattle, we got a lot of low-pressure systems that creates a lot of storms, as you know, which is not unusual for Seattle in that area. Very rainy, but it's followed by the cold front, which is on the move on down. Once it hops over the Rockies, it could hit Kansas a little bit more, so that cold weather could stick around a little bit farther. But it's Kansas, you never know. Down here, we got a little bit of a high-pressure system, clear skies down there. Right over here in Missouri, we got a low-pressure system. Again, bad weather, especially mixed with the high pressure or the high cooling system with the low cooling system, creates a lot of storms. So Missouri's going to get quite a bit of storms there. Then, of course, over on the East Coast, we got a low pressure system. If we take a look at the national temperatures, up in Seattle, like I said, it's rainy, about 50 degrees. Down in Los Angeles, beautiful as always, partly cloudy, 69 degrees. Salt Lake City looks gorgeous right now. Try and escape there for this weekend for Easter. 69 degrees sunny. Denver, 60 degrees and partly cloudy. Of course, if you look outside your window, Manhattan is raining, so we got 58 degrees there. Down south in Dallas, they got nasty tornadoes yesterday, so hopefully everything's okay there. Looking like pretty okay weather right now, partly cloudy and 70 degrees. Up north in Chicago, we got 54 degrees and partly cloudy. Over in New York, bright and sunny with a 70 degrees. And then, of course, down in Miami, always keeping the heat high, 80 degrees and partly cloudy. Now, if we look a closer look across the state, we will see down in Dodge City, they're about the only ones who are dry right now. Partly cloudy there with 54 degrees. But the rest of Kansas is getting pretty wet right now. We got Salina is raining with 54 degrees. Down south in Wichita, 63 and rainy. Manhattan, right where we are right now, it's raining pretty hard with 58 degrees. And over in Topeka, a little bit warmer at 62 degrees and rainy. Now, if we look at the 5-day forecast to see what we got going, tonight more thunderstorms will occur throughout the evening, so beware of that. But it'll dip down to a low of 49 degrees, so it'll feel pretty cold, so you can turn those AC units off. Thursday, we'll have some AM showers with a high of 62, low of 44, 30% chance of rain. Friday, we got mostly sunny with 71 degrees. Beautiful day with a low of 53. Saturday, there could be some storms that come back. Isolated, of course, high of 69, low of 42 degrees. And then Sunday is mostly cloudy with a high of 73. So really, as you can see, the temperatures are dipping down. So it's a beautiful weekend, Easter weekend, whether you're traveling or staying here. Of course, the Batcats, the baseball team, is here all weekend playing at Twinton Family Stadium. And so get out there and see them on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It'd be a shame not to. So back to you guys.
Thanks, Zach. I certainly hope that the rain stops before the Easter weekend so those little kids can get out there and have their Easter egg hunts. Oh. There have been quite a few events the past few days. First, the hire of K-State's basketball coach. The equestrian team competed in the Big 12 championship, and the K-State Fishing Club had a tournament.
Let's go now to our sports anchor, Don Bolerjack, to find out more about these events. Don, what do you have for us today?
Well, thanks, Brian. Well, I'll tell you, it's been quite an eventful past week. The Kansas State equestrian team had an up-and-down season, but they were able to show off their skills at the Big 12 championship last Friday and Saturday. The hootin' and the hollerin' was at an all-time high for these ladies, and the competition had teams from all over the Big 12, such as Iowa State, KU, and, of course, K-State. After all was said and done, the Kansas State ended up getting third place in the Big 12 competition. There are a lot of teams at K-State. Some are well known around campus, like football, of course, basketball, and equestrian, but others aren't. Those more under-the-radar teams have just the same amount of drive and passion as all the others, though. The fishing poles and bait were pulled out last weekend when the Kansas State fishing team had a tournament. The team gathered Sunday morning, and it was an early rise for me when I went out and joined up with the fishermen of K-State. And I got to tell you, it It was a real sight to see. But not a lot of the people are aware that K-State has a fishing team. So I went out to find out more.
The team is idling, and now they're off to the races. But it's not a boat race. It's a race to find the biggest fish. At 6:30 Sunday morning, the fishing team loaded up and took off to find their ideal fishing spot.
I'm here at Milford Lake where the Kansas State fishing team is having their first team scrimmage of the season. I jumped on one of their boats to see if the fish were biting.
Fishing is an art to these boys. It takes patience, strategy, and knowledge of the terrain and lake. But all their work goes towards one goal: to be invited to a national tournament.
Yeah, so these, like today, we're having a club tournament, which is only within our club. And we do these mainly to decide who gets to go to the big national tournaments. We'll have 3 or 4 club tournaments in the fall, and usually the top 8 anglers get a chance to go to a national tournament with other schools.
The specific length of the bass is important. It's required that it measure 15 inches for the fish to count in the weighing process at the end of the tournament.
He's going to be 14.25.
Some teams were having luck.
Felt a lot bigger. Bring it back at you. Here it comes. Get him. Yeah, baby. And that's how it's done.
But some weren't. Some of the guys I spoke to said that it just depends on the day and where the fish are spawning.
It turned out to be a really beautiful day on the lake, and I was able to talk to many individuals on the team, and it was obvious that they loved what they did. But something I found fascinating was the amount of fishing poles that each of the fishermen had. The average fisherman actually had about 5 to 6 fishing poles, and each one of them had their own specific use. So it turned out to be quite an interesting day. But I'll tell you, we're going to take a quick break here. We'll head it right back, and we'll be right back here on Channel 8 News.
I'm Mary.
I'm Daniel, also known as Flo.
And this is the Wildcat 91.9.
Award-winning and student-run, the Wildcat plays rock. They play urban, they even play dubstep. Sometimes things get a little crazy. Their DJs talk news, sports, technology, pop culture. They even packed 4 guys into a van to send to the Cotton Bowl.
It's a long way to go, but we do it for you. We're the Wildcat 91.9.
Channel 8 News. We're going to take a second now to send it over to Zach Weaver for the last look at the weather. Zach, what do you got for us?
Thanks, guys. Well, like we said today, the rest of the week is looking pretty beautiful. And I don't know about you guys, but my allergies make this time of the year pretty hard to get through, and it makes it pretty tough. And so, you know, they've had some high tree pollen levels this year, and especially around Kansas and down in Georgia. So hopefully with this rain, it'll clear it on out. But back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Zach. Well, that's all we have for you on this edition of Channel 8 News. Stay tuned for news and events surrounding Kansas State and the Manhattan area.